This is Lesson A3 covering the TI Business Analyst 2 calculator. Finance is a quantitative discipline. You'll be using formulas, a financial calculator, and Excel to solve problems. In this lesson, we'll go through an introduction to the Texas Instruments Business Analyst 2 Plus calculator. This calculator is an excellent and inexpensive choice, about $30, but by no means the only one available. If you already have a financial calculator that you prefer, just be sure you can perform the functions covered in this lesson on your calculator. The topics we'll cover in this lesson are listed on the slide, and while not exhaustive, this will provide a sufficient introduction to get you started if you're not familiar with the TI Business Analyst 2. TI and most calculators have a full user guide and a quick start guide available online. The TI Business Analyst 2 comes in two versions, the student version on the left, the $30 one, and the professional versions on the right, about $50. The professional does everything the student version does, plus some additional functionality, but the keystrokes are the same on both. This lesson will use the student version for demonstrations. The original professional version is shown in the center, the newer version on the right. The TI 2 Plus offers a wide variety of functions besides the basic numeric keypad. Each key's main function is printed on the key. Most keys also have a secondary function, accessed by pressing the second key and then the function key. We'll be looking at calculator worksheets shortly. Once you're in a worksheet, you must exit using second and quit to return to standard calculator mode. Out of the box, the TI 2 Plus is set to default to 2 decimal places. For finance, 4 is a better choice. To change to 4 decimals, press second and format, the period key at the bottom. The display will show DEC is equal to 2.0. Press 4, enter, second, and quit, and the display will show 0.0000. Pressing enter is required in worksheets to place the value in the worksheet register. Once this change is made, your calculator will remain set to 4 decimal places unless you change it. This is important. Values entered in registers and cells stay in the cell unless overlaid or cleared. Sometimes this is a plus, as you need to repeatedly use values in successive computations. But to be safe, registers and worksheets should be cleared before starting a new calculation. To clear the TVM keys, the gray row of keys across there, N, IY, PV, PMT, and future value, press second and clear TVM. To clear a worksheet, press the worksheet key, cash flow, bond, etc., and press second and clear work. This is especially critical with worksheets which may have a variable number of cell entries. The TI 2 Plus has specialized worksheets designed to solve several types of problems you'll be encountering in finance. For example, problems involving uneven cash flow streams and bond valuation. All worksheets function in a similar manner. Think of a worksheet as a set of columns in Excel. You enter a value and move down to the next open cell. In a TI 2 Plus worksheet, you enter a value by keying in the numeric value and pressing the Enter key on the top row. This places the value in that cell in the worksheet. You can visually verify that the value has been entered, as it will change in the display to 4 decimal places. To move to the next cell in the worksheet, press the down arrow and repeat the enter process. To move back up to check an entry, use the up arrow. We'll look at the calculator worksheets more in Chapter 5 when we cover time value of money. One worksheet that will be used a lot in finance is the cash flow worksheet, the CF key above IY. This worksheet in particular can have a variable number of entries depending on the number of cash flows being analyzed, so it's critical that it be cleared before you begin each calculation. And remember, to clear a worksheet, press the worksheet key, CF, and press second and clear work at the bottom left. One very small worksheet is the iConvert worksheet. iConvert converts interest rates from nominal to effective and vice versa. We'll cover this more thoroughly in Chapter 5. iConvert is accessed by pressing second and iConvert above the 2. Like most calculators, the TI Business Analyst 2 has storage registers. The TI has 10, numbers 0 through 9. They're accessed by the store and recall keys located on the left-hand column of keys near the bottom. A value can be stored in a register during intermediate computations, then recalled for later use. As with all registers, values stay in unless cleared or overlaid. Using storage registers for interim calculations allows you to stay in the calculator in complex computations, reducing rounding errors. To clear all storage registers, press second, memory, second, clear work, second, quit. This video covers most of the topics we've covered while demonstrating them on the calculator. You're probably going to be using your financial calculator a lot in this class, so I kind of want to provide a short intro to one of the more popular choices and the one I recommended, the TI Business Analyst 2. Both a quick start guide and a complete user manual for the TI are available online, so I'm only going to cover a few settings and operational issues that are particularly relevant for this class. Looking at the calculator, when you first turn it on, the default setting is 2 decimal places. 4 is a better choice. You get more precision. To reset the format to 4, press second and format, the period at the bottom. The display will show decimal equals 2. Press 4 and enter, and you can see the number of decimal places changes to 4. To get out of this, press second and quit. Decimal setting is set to 4, and it will stay that way until you change it, even when you turn the calculator on and off. There's 2 important characteristics about the TI that we need to keep in mind. Number 1, entered values stay until they're cleared or overlaid. The second thing is interest rates are entered as whole numbers. In Excel and in formulas, interest rates are decimals. 5% is 0.05. In this and in most financial calculators, 5% is entered as a 5. With that said, the 2 specific functions that we'll be using a lot are the time value of money keys and the cash flow worksheet. So we're going to take a little quick look at both of those. The TVM keys are those 5 highlighted keys above the keypad: N, IY, PV, PMT, and FD. Now remember, what's been entered before is still stored unless it's cleared or overlaid. You can clear all 5 of those keys by hitting second and clear time value of money. Or, since you've got 5 keys and you're going to solve for one of them, just enter something in all the other 4, even if it's one of them is 0. When you're entering data in these keys, there's no need to press enter like we did when we were changing the decimals. Just the number and the key. 5, N, 10, IY. You'll know the value has been correctly entered because the number of decimal places will change to 4. We're going to explore the TVM keys individually in a separate tutorial, TVM keys, where we'll look at both the TI keys and the associated Excel functions. The other feature we'll be using a lot is a worksheet. TI's got several of them, and all of them work in a similar way. Think of a worksheet like a column in Excel. You enter a value and you move down to enter another one. You move back up to check what you've entered. So the important keys are the enter key, the up arrow, and the down arrow. That's how you move around. To put a value in a worksheet cell, you key in the value and press enter like we did to change the decimals. To move to the next cell, press the down arrow. The worksheet we're going to be using the most is the cash flow worksheet, the CF worksheet. A separate tutorial on it covers this in a lot more depth, but I want to introduce it a little bit now. Since the cash flow worksheet allows the entry of up to 25 cash flows, it's important to clear it before entering any data because there could be data left in there. To do that, press CF, second, and clear work, and it clears it out completely. Another worksheet that we'll be using is the iConvert worksheet. iConvert is used to convert nominal interest rates to effective rates or vice versa. You access it by pressing second and the 2 key, iConvert. This little worksheet only has 3 cells: nominal, effective, and compounding per year. So in this case, it's not too critical that you clear it out. You can, but you've got to enter 2 of them and solve for the 3rd one. Suppose a bank quotes you 5% compounded monthly and you want the effective rate. You would press second and iConvert and nominal will appear. Enter a 5, enter, go down twice, get to compounding per year. This is monthly. Compounding per year is 12. Enter that, go back up to effective, and press compute. Your effective rate is 5.1162. Now, brief as this is, it should get you started with the TI. And as I said, for more detailed information, there's a quick start guide and the user guide. The TVM keys are used specifically to solve time value of money problems, a fundamental concept in finance and one covered in more depth in Chapter 5. The TVM keys form the row of gray keys on the student version and are highlighted on the professional versions. We'll cover the TVM keys in depth with time value of money in Chapter 5. The TI has several special keys that will be very useful in finance calculations. The square root key, 2 rows above the 7, returns the square root of a value. The x squared key returns the value of a number squared. The y to the x key allows you to raise a value to a power. For example, to raise 1.05 to the third power, you would enter 1.05, hit y to the x, 3, and equals. The 1 over x key inverts a value, so 8 becomes 1 over 8. When enter a negative value in a register, you do not begin with the minus sign. Enter the numeric value and then make it negative by pressing the plus or minus key. This is a toggle key, changing the entered value back and forth between positive and negative. A few more special keys that will be useful, especially in valuing options. LN is the natural log key. It's to the left of the 7 key. The second function of the LN key is e to the x, also used in valuing options. In either case, enter the value first, then press the key as shown on the slide. This ends our introduction to the TI Business Analyst 2 calculator. You're going to use it a lot in finance, so be sure you're comfortable with the functions and how to use them.